guys, today we're gonna be ranking the new Super Mario Bros. 2 worlds. There are 9 worlds in New Super Mario Bros. 2. World 1, World 2, World 3, World 4, World 5, World 6, World Mushroom, World Flower, and World Star. And in today's video, we'll be ranking them all starting with number 9.
Okay, so what will I be ranking these off of? I'll be ranking these off of the theme and how memorable the levels are. Let's get going, number 9.
It's time for number 9. 9th place for me is World 3. So first of all, I don't like that it's trying to be 2 different themes at once. I get how they want to have both a beach and jungle world, but in that case, just make 2 different worlds instead of just mash them together. Now the main problem I have with this is, I like both beach and jungle themes, but when they're mashed in one world, we don't get enough of either level type. I guess this kind of might be kind of a hot take. 2 different themes for one world just doesn't work for me. This leads me to my next problem with this world, that most of these levels aren't very unique or interesting. I guess there's this ghost house that has you with these moving platforms, but other than that, I guess there's a castle, which I hate. It's kind of filled with water, which removes any challenge from it. The whole point of the castle is to be tough. In World 3's castle fails to deliver, as so does the Wendy boss fight. The fact that it copied the boss fight from the Wii disappointed me. And that's what puts this world at number 9. Anyway, on to number 8. Number 8 for me is World Mushroom, but that doesn't mean it's a bad world. Let's start off with the good stuff. A lot of these levels are memorable, which is definitely a strength. In fact, I don't think any of these levels are necessarily bad. It's just basically boring, and I don't like the green cheeps at all. What's boring about it? The theming. This world would have probably benefited from the set theme. The level I hate the most though has gotta be World Mushroom - Ghost House. This is my least favorite level on the world because there's nothing fun about it. But I think this other sky level in World Mushroom - adds a touch of variety. I like the elements of the vines. That brings you to the level's final challenge, a castle, which has you dodge a spike ball, and if you don't, you die. And the fight against Larry is really hard, as all he does is jump around immediately. Watch. Right there, he jumps! See? Stop jumping around like a maniac, Larry. This world is kind of mid, so that's why it's number 8. Number 7 for me is World 2. It's a basic desert world which helps and hurts it. However, I like the twist they took by making it more of a desert ruins type world. Without that, it would have placed lower. This theming has shown up well in this sky level. Mario must jump on a lot of giant totem poles. I especially like how these totem poles appear on the world map, which help tie the world and levels together. Another level is probably the sky level where you get launched behind the lifts. I especially like how they have those poles from earlier in the background. But that brings me to this world's main problem, that none of the levels are memorable enough to be really good. Most of these levels aren't bad except for the ghost house, but almost none of them do anything to really stand out. Except for this ghost house, which has this dumb giant ghost. I do like the volcanoes that shoot out coins though, and World 2 is a decent desert world. But none of the levels seem to stand out from both the Wii U and the Wii. Castle level's pretty cool though. Has this lift you don't see anywhere else. But the main problem that I have with it is the Iggy fight. It's just the same one from the Wii, but somehow even easier. Which brings this castle down in my opinion.
Well, number 6 for me is World Flower. The thing that I like about this world is every level is different than the last one. I like how this world benefited from not having a set theme, and that the levels are actually better than World Mushrooms. The problem with this is that the map is a little boring, but that's not a big deal. But overall, this is still a pretty good world. And as for the castle and the boss fight, I think there has to be more than a conveyor belt and bouncing balls and getting bounced off the screen. Like, Lemmy fight is crazy. What does Lemmy do? Why does he bounce you off the screen with his balls? On to number 5. Number 5 is World 1, and World 1 is a basic world, so this will be pretty quick. I think it benefits from being simple though. I've always liked that Grassy World 1 theme, and that did a good job capturing it. And though this might not be a very popular choice, I think this deserves a solid spot for being such a solid world. And the castle, I like the castle, I like the fight itself. The Roy fight, let's move on to that. So, the thing about it is that it's so crazy. You can just jump on his head times, bang against the wall. On to number 4. Number 4 for me is World 6. I like World 6's volcano world, and I think it does a good job being a second to final challenge. Brings it to the other thing I like is that it's not the final world with the boss. I really do like that dry Bowser idea they gave us. It really adds a touch of variety, and it also adds why the Dry Bones Bowser should have been the final boss. Also, I like Dry Bowser a lot, so I'm glad that they decided to make 6 not the last world. But this also does a great job of being a lava world. I like the Dry Bones ride. The skeleton ride for Dry Bones really improves. And that's why I think this is a good level for the world. And I like how it's not just a volcano. There's a couple of ghost levels which I think are really cool because it helps this world a lot. And they should add that in the next Mario game with Koopalings. And besides, that brings me to the final challenge of the world, the castle. And I really like how the Koopalings are in the background. I like how Ludwig, Roy, Morton, Iggy, Lemmy, Larry, and Wendy are in the background. It's cool, very cool. And then, let's get to the Bowser fight. This starts off as a very basic fight where he throws hammers and you have to put him in a level with a switch. But after you kill him, it gets a lot more interesting. Surprisingly, Bowser will become giant and start attacking you. I like what they did to this though. Like, do a vertical climb, making it an interesting one. Also, one more thing. He really failed to attack them when he tried to. Bowser really needs to step up his game. On to number 3. And number 3 is World 4. As you can see, World 4 is really nice, and it's very snowy. And as is my favorite world in Mario Maker, which kind of makes sense why it's up here. So, other than realizing Iceworld, this has really nice isolated scoops, only because of the texture and how it was made. And the castle, but we'll get to that later. Look at this snowy background. It's a cool sky level, even though it's not one of the best. Even though it's not the best, it's one of the best there is. I said we were gonna do the castle later. This is the later I'm talking about. Or house castle. I really like those spike balls, but I think the snake blocks are the better part. Yeah. The fight against Morton is actually kind of better than the fight in Frosted Glacier, only because it makes more sense. Number 2 for me is World Star. What I like about World Star is because it makes a good world, but seriously, the thing that just makes not level number 1, those moving tracks on the sky level have to be butts. Anyway, this is a cool world, and it has anything that you won't see anywhere else, cause when you fly down, just look at Tanuki Rigi. It's so hard. But let's get to the castle right now. As you can see, it don't make sense why all the Koopalings are actually flying over. That would make no sense. And I see Luigi, he dodges pretty good. Let's get to the boss fight. I don't think Dry Bowser even throws a bone until he gets killed. It's a really good boss fight. But I don't think there should have been throwing bones. And I do think this is better than World 6's boss fight, just by a little bit. So overall, the fireballs are blue. And this is also a really cool world, but I want to see more. Remember when one has to go to World 5? I like how you can jump on the ropes, and it's pretty consistent at the ghost house. You can skip stairs. And then there's the bat blocks. I like that as well. But the most consistent one has got to go to the ship level. It's not my favorite level, but it's definitely up there for World 5. If there's something to top that, it would be this level and any other levels. That one too tops it. So, and the other level that tops it is the last level that tops it. That one being the castle. And
It's the best castle in the game. And I made it in the original Mario Maker too. And it's based off how good it is. And you find my favorite Koopa, which is kind of swinging off the chains. I really like the boss fight because it's the best fight of all time. I just like the cannons. And you can do anything good. That's all for this video, boy.